Yes, hello. Welcome. My name is Gerry McIntyre. I'm the Associate Artistic Director of the New York Theater, and I'm the host of Unsung. And I'm so happy because today, it's the first Unsung in person. Because I don't know if you've heard, there was something called a pandemic. So we never did it in person. But today, we have Darryl Archibald, who is the musical director and the conductor of Some Like It Hot on Broadway, and I adore him. Darryl Archibald, thank you for coming to the lovely McHale's Bar and Grill on 51st Street. I'm doing commercials for them too.
Yes, 51st Street.
It's too
far.
It's too far
so
for you.
Far. I mean, the theater I'm at is on 44th.
I just can't believe. Did you take a cab? I will reimburse you.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, so we've known each other for a long time.
Buena Park.
Buena Park, but I call it BC. I call it before COVID because I try to figure out the year.
I can't. I have no idea. Yes.
All I know is that there was someone.
I think I was a child, and you were probably.
I'm gonna kill you. Well, I was a child star then. I thought the guy who played Pippin his name was Robert Townsend.
Yes, exactly.
The white Robert Townsend.
Yes, and John Sharon. Choreographer.
Sharon was the choreographer.
And yes.
And I remember the only thing that, this is a horrible thing to say, at that time I had just moved to LA. So my agent said, we can't get you like a lot of money, but we can give you like your name in a box. And I was like, I'll take it. So I had my name in a box. And the show's called Pippin, and I had better billing than Pippin.
Well, but you also, and we've talked about this, that was back in the day when I was like, wow, this one. Because our Pippin was young and, not as experienced as you. And you managed to, how should I say this, make something out of all the scenes, even though you didn't say anything.
Oh, well.
And I was like, wow, that's how you do it. That's how you make magic in a scene that you're not even saying anything.
That's exactly how magic to do.
Yeah, thank you. It was a master class.
Oh my God.
Wow, this scene is so, no, it's not boring.
Look stage left on 14.
Yes.
Okay, listen, I know we have so much to talk about.
Yes.
I want to open with, you graduated with a degree in flute?
Flute performance.
What? Okay, I need to know the backstory then. What?
Well, no, because I started out with violin when I was 4.
Yeah.
Then I went to piano, and then around 10 or so, I started flute as well, and that became sort of my focus. I still did all of them.
Yeah.
And then I mainly did piano and flute. And then I ended up going into the Philharmonic Institute, the LA Philharmonic Institute.
Yeah.
And
at what age?
Like 12. But I mean, it was for, to prep.
Yeah.
So you get lessons with Philharmonic teachers and everything, and you do master classes and all, summer institutes and stuff. And at a certain point, my teacher was like, if you're going to do this, this is the thing you're going to focus on. And so I sort of pushed the other stuff to the side. I still, was still doing conducting and stuff like that on the side, and doing little musical theater stuff.
Yeah.
Back at the Odyssey Theater in Los Angeles, little small things.
Right.
But I was focusing on flute. I was going to be an orchestral musician and play, or a soloist or something, symphonic musician, and I was doing that.
Yeah.
And then one day, while I was still doing stuff, I think I was still basically playing flute when I did the thing with you.
Really?
Yeah. And I decided at one point that, no, I don't want to audition until I'm like 50 to get into the Charlotte Symphony, nothing against Charlotte, or the Savannah, or just, and so I just decided that I wanted to be the one in front. And I was already doing stuff, so I slowly kind of phased the flute away and focused more on musical directing and doing shows and things. Because I think I was 14. Odyssey Theater did Frogs.
Oh my God, first of all, Frogs. Let's start with that.
Sometimes Frogs. Yeah. And it had, oh my gosh, why am I forgetting? Franklin Seals, from Silver Spoons and everything, God rest his soul. He was in it, and they needed a flute player to play in the little band that they had.
Yeah.
And so I went to the Odyssey Theater, and they were like, I'm 14. And I was like, yeah, I want to do this. And they're like, sure.
Right.
And so I did that. I had to wear a little toga. And Franklin Seals kind of took me under his wing because, it was a little racy and, at 14 being in the middle of theater.
Absolutely. I've seen this movie before.
And so that's what I did. And then there were a few times when they needed somebody to play piano for something.
Yeah.
And I just dived in. And then I actually started to musical direct for the Odyssey Theater, in my teens.
Oh my
and
God.
do stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I wrote music for a Polish play that they had called The Shoemakers, which was, just stuff I was doing. And so that's kind of how I really started doing more theater. But before that I was in the California Boys Chorus, like Lenny Kravitz and Phineas, Newborn, and all of the people. So I have a very complicated musical past.
Did someone say, you know what, you should be a musical director instead of playing the flute? Or it was just your vision, no. You're like, I just want to be in front.
I think it was more I just want to be in front because I had always done classical, so I did some opera, along with the musical theater because I thought, maybe stay in the classical, but musical theater just seemed more fun and more interesting.
So wild to me because when I was doing my homework, I'm like, I don't, a violin, flute? I was like, I just thought you were like a piano genius and then you just went straight to Broadway.
Straight to Broadway. No, Broadway had to wait until they wanted to me to do something other than the standard 3 shows that people like me get.
Well, listen, we'll talk about that. So then you grew up in LA,
yes.
Right? You were born and raised in LA.
Yes.
And where do you live in LA? I like to tell the people.
What do you mean we like to tell the people? There's this little tri-area called Windsor Hills, View Park, Baldwin Hills, Ladera Heights.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's very, very bougie where he lives.
It's in the day it was called the Black Beverly Hills. It was, because my parents bought the house in 1970 or something like that.
Oh, no, were your parents in music at all?
No. My dad, when I was little, I remember he was on the city commission, the LA, he was a city commissioner. And I used to go with him sometimes down to City Hall, and they would have these meetings, and I would literally run free around. You can't do that now, of course.
Absolutely.
But I would run around and just explore City Hall.
And so because my mother was a nurse and my father was a shipping supervisor. So all of a sudden I said I want to dance. They're like, who are you?
My parents, they let me do pretty much anything I wanted to do. They saw me playing. I was that weird kid. I would take my little Fisher-Price people, the little wooden ones with the head. Because my mom bought me all of these classical records when I was 4 or 5, just records.
Yeah.
And so I got so interested in that, and I was playing the violin and everything, that I would take my little Fisher-Price people and I would stage the operas. I hadn't seen them, but I would literally put on La Boheme. Oh. I remember the album with Victoria de Los Angeles, and I'd put on the album of La Boheme, and I would just take my little Fisher-Price people and stage the thing. And my parents were like, "Go outside." I'd be like,
because they didn't know what to do with you.
Yeah. And so that's where my mom got me into the different things in the California Boys Choir and all that stuff, because I was just doing music stuff in my own space.
In your own space.
Yeah.
That's why my mother took me to see Chorus Line.
Oh, wow.
And that was the end.
Yes.
That was the end. I came home and I was Cassie, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Mom, I'm Cassie." And I'm dancing in the living room. She's like, "You have to stop doing that." Because I was alive.
But she recognized, my parents recognized it's good, this is what he wants to do.
Absolutely.
And they bought me whatever I wanted.
Right.
Instruments.
They bought you a piano?
Yes, they bought me flutes. When I was 12, whatever, my flute teacher said, "Hey, this is the kind of flute that he needs," and it was this, for the time, very, very expensive Muramatsu handmade flute that I don't know how much they paid for it back then.
Oh,
but yeah.
And
because the flute teacher said this is what he needs, and my dad was like, great.
that is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, do you still play the flute?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Yeah, but personally, I don't. I
Yeah.
could if I wanted to, but
Right.
no, because in those days I literally sat in rehearsal rooms or sat at home playing all day.
Yeah.
When I got to college and everything, you would. I would put on a record. People remember records.
Yeah.
And
Records.
because I could tune it to, you could like change the pitch on the turntable. So I
Right.
would tune it to whatever I needed to. I'd
Yeah.
put on the headphones, put on London Symphony, like the Tchaikovsky symphonies, and then play from 1, through 6, and spend the day just playing all the first flute parts and go through and maybe play all the second.
Oh.
And you just sit there for hours and then you go and maybe
Right.
have something to eat. But that was my life, and playing orchestra excerpts all day.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Musical theater is much more fun.
Well, I don't know the other side. That's the part I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's wild though. I mean, it's such a, that you got there with like no one to like no one was dancing in my family. No one was singing in my family.
But I
get there.
had good mentors. When I got into the choir at 11 or 12, I can't remember. Maybe, yeah. California Boys Choir, Bob Rogers, who was one of the directors of the choir,
Yeah.
he introduced me to operas and Bach and
Yes.
Beethoven, and he would make me these mixed tapes of everything. So I discovered Marilyn Horne and Joan Sutherland and all these people, and I would sit there singing The Queen of the Night or something in front of the mirror and learning. And we had to learn all these languages because we did the operas. Were like when New York City Opera would come to Los Angeles,
Right.
we would have to learn. Carmen and Tosca and La Boheme, and I still remember all that stuff to this day. The
Bob
Kicks Up.
Rogers.
Yes. He
amazing.
Yeah. And they lived near USC, so when I went to USC, I would park my car
Yeah.
at his apartment and walk over to the campus because God knows how much I was paying just to go there.
Yeah.
And parking? No, that didn't come with the tuition.
Just always bougie. Oh my God. Okay, so now you're in LA. You do all this stuff, and then so how do you jump over to New York City? How do you get to New York City, or
It's
or
really
they come
funny.
to you?
There wasn't a jump, only because truly I started doing regional stuff.
Right.
And a lot of musical theater in Los Angeles and Utah Shakespearean Festival, or just stuff, Muni, whatever.
Right.
And Banff Center in Canada, and touring. Did toured with Lion King, and Dreamgirls, Motown.
Right.
But the thing about it is that I was enjoying doing the regional stuff because I was getting to, Camelot, Forever Plaid, Sound of Music, all of these wonderful shows that now with the kind of like awakening
Yes.
that we're able to do.
Yes.
But for years, I would not be a call for Sound of Music.
Absolutely.
I would not be a call for the company or any of these things. I'd be a call
Absolutely.
for Once in the Siren. I'd be a call for Dreamgirls.
Aim
I'd be a call
Misbehave
for,
It.
yes, which I
Absolutely.
did like 5 times.
A
And
million.
I have vowed, because I've gotten calls and I'm like, no, I don't do that. Not that I don't want to,
Yes.
but I've been there, done that, and I don't want to have to practice that hard ever again. But I don't.
Right.
I've done that show. Let somebody else come up and do that show.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, because I've been doing like all these regional things, and people are going, oh, you're never home, blah blah blah. You're doing the regional thing, but I think it pays off because
Yes.
people just like start to just notice. It's like, oh, this.
And you can do more than those shows because, for instance,
Absolutely.
this past summer at the Sacramento Music Circus,
Yes.
I was there doing Kiss Me Kate.
Yeah.
They had open Camelot,
Yes.
and their musical director got COVID, their conductor.
Yeah.
And it was, I guess, night 3 because they opened on that Tuesday. We started rehearsals on that Tuesday, and that Wednesday, they needed somebody after I'd been there a day to conduct Camelot.
Oh.
Just, hey, can you? I was in rehearsal for Kiss Me Kate, and they're like, hey, we have a problem. Our conductor tested positive for COVID.
Yeah.
Can you come in and do the show? Luckily, decade before I did the production for Reprise.
Oh, yeah.
Of Camelot. I knew the show.
Right.
And so I got there, I got out of rehearsal, I got their archival tape from the opening night.
Yeah.
I watched it, and it's so funny, I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there's a ballet in this thing, fast forward, fast. Okay, yeah.
Wow.
And I went in that night and conducted the show.
Well, by the way, everyone, at Broadway Sacramento, we did the Wiz together there with Adriana. It's like 7 minutes of rehearsal. Like you have, I mean, it's like 7 days or something, and then you have like 2 days of tech, and then you open. So just the fact that you did that, it's crazy.
But it was one of those things where, because I was able to do these shows in my career, that it's like, sure, I'll go and do the Camelot. It was a long time ago, but of course I know the show. I've conducted the show already.
Oh my God.
And so that's the kind of thing that made me feel like not jumping to the Broadway thing and doing the same 3 shows over again was the right thing, and happy for it.
Oh, that's great. Someone asked me if I could do the Sound of Music. I was like, I could, but she long. You can make, when you get to some place, you can go like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it. But,
But the fact is, I can do it.
I can do it.
Yes, I'm able to, and ask me and see.
You can see if I want to.
Yeah.
That's
But
amazing.
the fact that this Black conductor was able to just come in and do Camelot because he's conducted the show before and knew it.
Right.
That's not, unfortunately, that's not the regular thing.
And that's the part about the thing. I went, I saw I run through like the invited dress or something.
Yes.
And then I saw opening night of Some Like It Hot. And when I looked back and I saw you on that, the video screen, it made me well up, because I hadn't seen a Black conductor since, I think, Linda Twine, maybe. Like when you see the conductor
standing
come out,
as opposed to sitting at a keyboard.
You understand?
Conducting.
It made me well up, because who else is there a Black conductor on Broadway right now? Another one?
Yes. For MJ.
Okay.
Yeah, you have conductor Alvin Huff. He just did Merrily.
Okay.
Jason Michael Webb is doing MJ. Those are so there's 2 now, I think, because Merrily closed.
So,
but it's coming back.
But
I think both of those are playing also conductors.
Right.
Yeah, they're not standing.
The standing and you see it.
Baton,
It's really, and it really did honestly take my breath away, because it's been so long. And do you feel, is there any, you feel just like, oh yeah, I'm doing it and I deserve it? Or do you feel like, I have to, because since I'm the one, is there any? No,
it's really weird, because there's this point that I'm at right now where it's like, this is what I do. And every night, it's exciting to me to just do the show.
Yeah.
And so I'm not one of those like, oh God, I have to do another show tonight. Just kind of mail it in. As soon, I'm tired usually until they say, give me my cue light, and then boom, it's like, it's the show. Because for me, there's nothing worse, and I've seen it before, for a cast watching a conductor who is not interested or not giving it.
It's the worst. It's literally the worst.
And that drives me crazy. It's like, okay, I guess if you're doing it for the paycheck, great.
Right.
But let's pretend that you're enjoying this at least.
Absolutely. When I see that baton moving, I'm like, it gives me a little juice.
Yeah, and just to like know that you're there supporting them.
Absolutely.
But that whole like.
That's the.
Yeah, is.
But my favorite is when it's like, maybe not on the 2 and the 4, like on the beat. I'm like, oh, you're not.
You're leaving it to the drummer.
Leave it, let the drummer do it.
Yep.
So
give him your check.
So, how did Shaman find you? Because I know Mark and
through Mary
Scotty.
Mitchell. Mary Mitchell Campbell, who was great.
Yeah.
She, who's in Muse with me.
Yeah.
One of the founding members. She called me and she said, I have this project, because she's music supervisor. I have this project, and I want you to meet the people. And I was like, who are the people?
Yeah, I love
and
the
she's
people.
like, Mark Shaman, Casey Nick. I was like, oh, the people.
The people.
Exactly. And so it was during COVID, so I met them on Zoom and everything, and taped off some stuff for Mark. And next thing I knew, I was going back to New York and doing one of their first 29, not their first, my first 29-hour reading. They had been doing this for like 5 years ahead of me.
Right.
And then I got it, and I've been working on it ever since, and it's been a joy. I mean, it's been hard, but I can truly say the experience has really been wonderful, and I love being there every single night and doing this show.
That is
Yeah, which is not something you get all the time, because I was doing a show right before that. It's just kind of like, no thanks.
But I mean, you can tell that everybody is happy.
Yes.
You see the show, you're like, oh my God, they like each other.
Yes, this is true, and I'm not just saying this. They truly, I mean, there are personalities, but we all understand each other. And I think that was the thing when I came in, that first 29-hour reading, I didn't do much except observe people.
Okay.
And I think it's important, because people have certain quirks and certain personality things that you can either look at it and go, whatever, or look at it and go, that's why they are saying this to me, or that's why they're reacting that way. It's because of this.
Right.
Not malice, not because they're trying to do something.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's their personality, and that's what that means.
Right.
And if you can do that,
Yeah.
then you'll be a lot better off. Sometimes people are just horrible people, and so that's fine.
As it turns out.
Exactly. In this case,
Yeah.
no, people just have all kinds of interesting ways of communicating and doing things, and when you understand it,
Yeah.
and you don't take things personally,
Right.
then you're fine. And that's what this was, because these are all big personalities.
Yeah,
Really,
Yeah.
really big personalities, and none of them, at least in my experience, came at me with malice or anything like that. Sometimes they would come for you,
All right.
but it's because they were trying to achieve something, and it wasn't about me.
We did The Color Purple together, and we come from the same kind of school, so Darryl would, would be very, because it's, we have to be very careful with a black show. Because
I wouldn't say careful.
What would you say?
No, see, I wouldn't say careful. I would say you have to be very specific and direct. And be very specific because this is what I've found, even just working on shows, like general shows, a lot of times, same thing with directors and musical directors, black musical directors, people don't want to say things because they think that they're going to offend.
Absolutely.
Or they let you get away with something that ordinarily they wouldn't let somebody get away with, because a white director they don't know how to approach a black actor a lot of times. And I'm like, BS.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Right.
It's like, tell that person you don't want them riffing right there.
Absolutely.
Or talk to them about how to sing a song. Don't just say, sing.
Oh.
What does that mean?
You know what that means.
No, I don't.
Well, I mean,
I've been there in the room when you have a white director. It's like, oh yeah, just go to church, just sing, or just kind of like, is there any like acting choice that you want there? No, I just want you to sing. It's like, and that
drives me nuts.
But I'm just saying, and so there we were getting a lot of that in Purple when we were doing it together. It's like, if you're gonna do something, if you're gonna make a choice, where is that choice coming from?
All of it.
Yeah, not just sing it.
Absolutely.
Because that's what is expected.
Absolutely.
And so that's what I'm saying about the direct, because you have to be specific and say, okay, I want you to like act this moment and give me the acting beats and the choices.
Right.
And if out of that comes what you're doing, great. But if you can't justify that with something,
it doesn't make it, because my thing is always do the melody first. Always do the melody first, because that's what's written on the page.
Yeah.
Do the melody first, and if you're inspired to do something else, do it.
Yeah.
But the riff-a-rama thing to me has not ever been my favorite.
But I mean, there's a place
Yeah.
But it's like, what is it representing?
I don't know, but they said to me, I did a Whistle Down the Wind and the musical just like, and in this section, just do that, the thing you guys do. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, because because you know me, I'm already pulled up, and I went to 12 years at Catholic school, so I don't know the riff around the thing.
But even at that, a director saying,
Yeah.
just do that thing, or just saying there, you're just kind of like,
I'm like, no, I said, you give me
it's
the
the most
note.
offensive.
It's offensive, and I said, plug out the note you want me to sing, and then I'll sing it.
But yeah, if you're talking to somebody who's doing the Sound of Music, or I guess that's not something like Wicked or something like that.
Yeah.
They're not just kind of like, hey, when you get here, just like sing.
Right, but you're not gonna.
It's like, do you think they're going to talk to them about the choices in the song, the arc of the song or something? But I've been in the room
Oh yeah.
with directors
yes.
who are more concerned about how they will appear to the people of color.
Absolutely.
And so they're careful with how they direct them. And I'm just kind of like, why are you being careful?
You're absolutely right.
They're an actor to direct them.
Just be clear. I was. No, I'm not gonna. I was about to do like full names, but I'm not gonna do full names.
No, but just know there are plenty. There are lots.
There's a lot
People
of
we
them.
know. People we all know.
And I was asked to scat, and I was like, because when I auditioned and got the part, there was no scatting involved. But just like the director and the music director was like, I've got a great idea, and I'm like. And they were just like, he was just doing like this, and I'm going, well, see, if it was a white person, if it was you, and I'm gonna tell Maria Van Trapp or whatever her name, what's her name, Van Trapp?
Von Trapp.
Von Trapp, to just scat, the Sound of Music number. It's like, why do you think that we have to do things and, just do whatever you want to do dance-wise? It's like, how about you choreograph it?
Or if they take a show that exists
Right.
and they do an all-black version of it,
Yeah.
then they will make sure that they turn a number into a gospel number.
There's always a gospel number.
There's gotta be.
Well, because that's when the show's, to me, it's like,
yeah.
it's the 11 o'clock number. The show is like in the garbage because they need, they said a big black woman to sing a gospel song at the end of a thing.
Oh my gosh,
How many?
years ago, because they don't exist anymore, Reprise did an ethnic version of Damn Yankees.
Baseball?
Yeah, because I thought, what show is it? And they decided to take one of the numbers and turn it into this kind of like gospel thing. And I love him, and I'm going to say his name, Ken Page, who was in that production.
Yeah.
Was like, no, I'm not going to be in that number.
Because
it's just kind of like,
we don't need to do it.
yeah.
We don't need to do it.
And I was just doing orchestrations for it because I was
Right.
out of town, and I was hearing all this. I was like, good for you.
Good for you.
Because I kept thinking, why? Why did we have to turn this number into that?
No, because I don't know. I always think it's when a show is in trouble. It's like,
I don't necessarily think it's in trouble. I just think they're like, well, you forgot black people.
I'm not ever speaking to you again. I'm like, I can't. I
grew up in a Methodist church, so I'm sorry. But I'm just saying, you got a group of black people, so of course you're going to do a gospel number.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know why. I don't know. Just one of those. It was Doubtfire, one of those shows. I hate to do it, but at the end, the second act, that 11 o'clock number with this, this lovely black actress, and just come out of nowhere though. It was out of nowhere, and she's doing a gospel number, and I'm like, tell me what's going on in the play. I don't understand why the journey was that this black woman has to sing a gospel number when at the 11 o'clock, because it's not about her.
Well, but I'm just saying I'm not saying that having a gospel number is a bad thing or wrong.
Absolutely.
But if it is a part of like Color Purple, that's part of the story. That's part of the journey of the thing.
Absolutely.
And what I love about Some Like It Hot, we have a black woman playing Sugar and a black woman playing Sweet Sue, and they just get to be people.
Absolutely.
I mean, we touch on, race things because, of course, in the story and the time period, but it's not all encompassing. It's not what, like, it's not a weight that bogs the story down. It's something that's there, that's acknowledged, and they just get to sing and do their thing.
And they sing,
But they just get to sing.
I love her.
Yeah.
She was our Dorothy in The Wiz.
Yeah.
The fact that she sings those two numbers, and I don't find there's no riff-a-rama. She just stands on zero and sings.
And brings the house down. And then she has that
down.
lovely ballad talking about, her life growing up.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. Same thing with Natasha, just being out there and just being able to do it.
Oh my God, listen.
Yeah.
That opening number drives
But
so good.
But what I'm saying is that it's the kind of thing where, insert person here.
Yes.
It's the kind of thing that anybody could do.
Yeah,
as opposed to, they just happen to be written for Black women.
Absolutely.
But it's like Elphaba. Elphaba could be something else.
Absolutely.
And because she's green, it's
Right.
great that they're making, that she gets to be something else.
Absolutely.
I'm just
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The fact that she's green, that it could
Well,
be.
it was a whole beauty. And the whole Belle,
Yeah.
from Little Mermaid.
Oh, yeah.
From Little Mermaid,
Yeah.
where there was this Ariel,
Yeah.
where there was all this thing, and I just kept thinking to myself, people, this is a fictional sea creature. Have we really gotten down to where fictional sea creatures have a specific race that they must be?
The people went. The people went crazy.
Fictional?
Say it
They're
again.
they're like, Ariel is black. How is that possible? I'm like, wait.
I can't. Yeah, she's
Sea creature.
She's a mermaid.
But yes.
That's the part that makes me. I'm like,
And then they would go back to, well, it's Hans Christian Andersen. It's just kind of like, but she's a.
I'm gonna say it again. Oh
Anyway.
my God! So listen, I want you to tell the people about Muse because
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes. Muse is this wonderful organization that was started by a bunch of Broadway veterans, people in the industry, like Stephen Aramis, Alex Ackmore, Mary Mitchell Campbell, Georgia Stitt, Kenny Seymour, all these wonderful musical directors in town. And it exists to help, to basically be a pipeline and help people of color get into positions in the musical theater industry. And not just, assisting or not just playing in the pits, but in the higher positions like musical directing and orchestrating and everything, and sound engineering, just everything. And so that, along with its sister organization, Maestra, we have this database of our members that people from all over the country, all over the world, can actually look for what they need in the bios and resumes that are there from our members, and they can find musical directors, they can find sound engineers, they can find people who orchestrate, they can find people who are lyricists, they can find all these people of color, and with varying skills. Some people who are ready and Broadway caliber, some people who would be better for regional, and there are people all over the country. So people can go to this. It's museonline.org.
Okay.
And if they're in need of, if they're trying to have a more diverse group in their organization, they can go to Muse, again, museonline.org, museonline.org, and they can post jobs. They can do all kinds of things. We have scholarships, we have seminars, we have mentorship programs. In fact, one of the people that I was mentoring became the music assistant for both Dancin' that I was working on and Some Like It Hot. And now he's on tour as an associate conductor on a Sound of Music tour that is touring, I think, in Asia right now.
That is amazing.
But that is the kind of thing that we need that has not been around. And you always get that line from people. It's like, well, I don't know where to find people. Or I don't know, how do I find a person of color for this? It's just kind of like, well, we've been here. it's just like with me where people are like, oh my God, I've been wanting to work with you forever. And I'm like, let's stop right there. Especially when it's, I've been wanting to work with you forever. Here's this great Ain't Misbehaving that we're going to do next season. And
Absolutely.
I'm like, first of all, I've been here forever.
Been here.
And the fact is that apparently you've been waiting until you've had a specific kind of show for us to work together. Not that you've been like longing and waiting to work together. So I've been calling people out on that recently.
Right.
But there's just stuff, oh my gosh, I've been like and it's like, let's
stop it right now.
Let's just not go there.
Right.
Because
it's
not as if I've been in a box, like hiding.
You've been here working the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Not my favorite stuff. All of a sudden it's new. It's like, oh my God, I've heard so much about you. It's like, well, really?
Yeah.
You've been here working the whole time.
Oh yeah.
That's, I mean.
So that's the whole thing about if you were looking, you can find. And so Muse and Maestra are there. It's like you have no excuse.
You can find.
You can find. We have a place where you can go.
Absolutely.
And with clicks of buttons, you can populate your staff with people. And again, it's what we really want to do with Muse is make sure that people are like getting the right fit, because there also is that horrible thing that's happening now where people are checking boxes.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just trying to check a box and they're not putting people who are actually qualified or ready for that. And so we're like, so if you can't find the person or that person isn't out there at the moment, that for you, that right fit, maybe like have an internship as well, or have some sort of like assistant program with somebody assisting, so you can help train people who might be in your area to like be able to like move into that next space to fill in those positions in Utah or in Montana or these places. You're just telling them, well, I don't see any people. Well, there are people there, but maybe they just haven't had the opportunity. So maybe put something in, it's like, hey, we're seeking people for this program because we want to like mentor them so that they can move into this space and be a musical director for one of our shows or a sound designer or something.
Absolutely. That's amazing, my friend. That's amazing.
Yeah, so wonderful organization.
I couldn't be happier that we finally did it. Like, we've been talking about it, we've been like threatening you.
Yes.
And you have to see Something Like It Hot. I mean, this is what I don't say anything I don't mean. You will not leave there unhappy. Whatever the thing is, you know, everyone has a problem with that, but it doesn't matter. You walk out of that super theater and you have a smile on your face. After all this stuff that we've been through, that we're together, and the story is, you know,
it's old school.
It's old Broadway musical.
And it's not like so old good. In the sense of stuffy. It's just kind of like, it's what and nothing against these, but we don't have helicopters, we don't have chandeliers, we don't have like cars. I mean, there is a train, but but I'm just saying, it's really just great music, great story, great singing, and great dancing.
That dancing is unbelievable, and I'm so proud of you, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. I mean, that's.
But again,
amazing.
Like that's what. We all of these years of just doing the stuff and doing what we loved, you can then like say, okay, I can do this, and people aren't going, oh, did we make a mistake?
Right, but the thing about that, you were prepared. It was like, when the opportunity finally came, you were like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm like the musical director of a Broadway show, and I'm the black musical director in musical theater at the moment. You were ready.
But that's the funny thing, because people, they were like, how is it? I mean, going Berger, I'm just kind of like, well, truthfully, it's great, but it's nothing special in the sense of, it's not as if it's glamorous. I mean, you have better looking theaters in regional like performing arts centers where they're all new, with dressing rooms, with showers and things. I mean,
you have to walk up. How many flights you have to
walk up? 4th
floor. Can you take an Uber?
Oh my gosh. But I'm just saying, I mean, being on Broadway is great.
Absolutely.
And it's wonderful. And I love what I'm doing, but I love what I'm doing when I'm at Sacramento Music Circus too.
Absolutely.
So it's just kind of like, when it's more high profile, but you can't do that whole thing where people are like, oh, I do Broadway. It's just kind of like, Really?
Sweetie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know, and both of us know,
Yeah.
just because it's Broadway does not mean it's good.
That does not mean it's good.
I mean,
Absolutely.
there is great Broadway, but that doesn't mean just because you're like, I was on Broadway. It's just kind of like, was is the operative word.
That's the true story. Ladies and gentlemen, mic drop. Oh my God. All right. Thank you so much, Darryl Archibald, ladies and gentlemen. I am so happy that he's my first in-person interview. And we'll be back with the next Unsung. And we have a lot of stuff coming up at the York Theater. We have a new musical called Vanities. It's a musical of the play Vanities. And it's coming up in March. And if you want to find out anything about the York, go to yorktheater.org. The theater spelled the old-fashioned way with an R-E. And see what's going on. We got a lot of stuff going on. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.
Let's be back! Let's be back! Yeah.